Okay, you see my screen now, right?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, let's start. So I'm just starting now.
Okay.
Let me just do this thing for. Okay, so today basically I'll talk about this FBA shipping and Incoterms, right? I think I mean s- shipping is something which you'll have to know, because like when you are like you will be talking to your supplier and you will be in stage wherein like you'll have to find out the details, right? Before that you should have the information what exactly you need to know, and what all things you will be basically taking care at that point of time. So that's what we'll talk about today. And the Incoterms, like there are shipping terms. So that's basically I'll just talk about those things. Okay, so when it comes to shipping, like you will be talking to freight forwarders. So those can be like your supplier himself can help you to ship your product from factory to till FBA, Amazon FC, depending on the terms what you are agreeing to. So these are the freight forwarder companies. Those can help you to, apart from your supplier probably will, tie up with this any of these people, and or maybe some other company who are the FBA specialist forwarders, and supplier themselves can do on your behalf. You do not have to find somebody, any third party. But if at all your supplier is charging too much, and you it is in fact always better that you find a supplier by yourself, and not supplier, freight forwarder by yourself, and find the pricing details when you get the quote from the supplier as well, and you compare like whose price is good, and right. Usually it might be the case like your supplier or the manufacturer might be charging more. It might be the case, but if after comparing you see that price, there is not much price difference, or your manufacturer is quoting less, then yes, you can definitely consider to go with your manufacturer. But these are the there are these freight forwarder companies are there, like DHL, FedEx, and UPS. These are the big companies in fact. So those company can do shipping for you from your place to till Amazon FC, depending on again the terms, like in terms what you are uh, agreeing on, and what you are paying for, right? So, and apart from these big freight forwarders, you have this specialists who are specifically specialist on ABA shipment. Those are company like FBAforward.com, FBAexpress.com. There are, few more companies are there also. At the same time, you can find freight forwarders in Alibaba itself. So there you can find certain list of freight forwarders available there. They are also specialist, but they work in I think they work in a different model. They will, on the back end, they will work with some agent, and they will just try to get your shipment done. Okay, so, and like before shipping, right, you should know what all restriction can be, right? That's something, if you have the idea, then you know that okay, these all things may come on our way, and you should be prepared for that, right? So what all those things can be? That can be customs or agencies restriction, that there means can be some restrictions from the customs end. And uh, let's say if you are exporting or importing a product which is restricted to be, I mean, imported to US, right? There is one example, best example is pencil, color pencil. Like if you take that, that's a kind of like product which has lot of, I mean, they'll heavily charge the custom duty. It is almost like 120% of your uh, goods value. So that's too much, right? So those things you should be aware that if you are, I mean, before you are getting into your manufacturing and all those things, you should be clear that okay, you are not means manufacturing a product something which is having this kind of restrictions from customs or any agency on the way when while doing your shipment, right? So those things you should be knowing, and those details you'll have to, it's not something I can tell you that what all those things can be. So you have to, when you choose select your product, you find out all those information about your product, whether that has any customs restriction, whether that has any agencies restriction on the way, right? And similar way you will may have some restriction from the, I mean, from air, in the sense from your flight, or from the sea. Like if you're taking the, means ship may have some restrictions to take certain type of material, right? Or air, your flight may have restrictions to take certain type of material. That also you'll have to find out if that has any restrictions, right? So, and the next one is Department of Commerce, which is nothing but like, I mean, for trade commerce, you means when import means at destination country, there might be some restriction from your trademark point of view or patent point of view, which could be a, I mean, concern for Department of Commerce, right? So that probably they'll say like, please, I mean, you produce this and that and all those things, right? That's also something you should know about your product. If that has, that may, you may get into those things or not. That thing you should be cleared at the time of like selecting a product, right? I mean, after selecting, you can probably go through this little bit of process to find out if any of this restriction applies on your product. And the next one is Amazon FC restriction. If at all FC has any restriction, right? So that also you'll have to find out if FC can accept this product or not. Usually they will be accepting, but if that the if product is something really not acceptable, that also you should know this product is not acceptable in FC, right? They have in this next slide, I have captured the information from Amazon itself. So this says like the following classes are approved for FBA in limited quantities. So what is approved in limited quantities, right? So you see all these are approved in limited quantity. So you cannot take unlimited quantity of product. It says flammable gases, and so it is hazardous spectrogram, but transportation level. So it has some limit on the, so you have to find out if you are taking this all type of product, you have to find out the information about like what is the quantity restriction they have and what else. I mean, definitely there will be hazmat approval which you will have to take. And similarly, like these four classes are prohibited from FBA, so you cannot sell this. I mean, you cannot take this product to FC and sell it. So these are definitely restricted category type of product. So like toxic gas or explosive substances liable for spontaneous combustion, right? Uh, Substances dangerous when wet. These are types of like very specifically restricted. So you cannot definitely think of, I mean, uh, I mean selecting that product as your product, right? So you should not. And this list you should refer and see if your product is having anything as such as per the list. You can get additional restricted product list here from this below link, and this additional information also there on this link. So okay, so now come to Incoterms. Like, what is Incoterms? Incoterms is nothing but international commercial terms. So why it was developed? Basically, it was developed by commerce chamber, international chamber, to establish a import and export kind of like policies, right? So that's basically terms which was developed and which was established by ICC. Okay, so Incoterms related to any mode of transport. So these are the mode of transport. Like, I mean, any mode is the mode which is nothing but your um, seaway or airway, right? This is the mode of transport, or railway. Railway usually it is not. I mean, nobody does that. If it is like, I mean, if it is a country like in India to Nepal, something like that, you can say. But usually, if it is a over the sea, it has to be either sea transport or your air transport, right? So for any mode of transport, these are the transport. I mean, these are the Incoterms which is usually used, and you must be knowing what is this terms and when this can be applied to you as a buyer. These are the terms like which, I mean, which will have certain restriction on your side or on your seller side, right? So what is those things? X work is the one term that is not nothing but X works, EXW. So what does this mean exactly? Like, when your supplier does the manufacturing, and if you have like an agreement, I mean, you say that I mean, you do not take care of anything for the shipping. You just tell me on your manufacturing quote with X works. What does that mean? I mean, they will not include anything on your on the shipping part. So you are just asking for the quote, manufacturing quote, with means excluding all, everything else. I mean, everything else in the sense all your shipping thing, right? So that, I mean, that means like your manufacturer make your product manufactured and ready at their place, and from then it becomes your responsibility to take it from their place and ship it to your destination country, right? It could be US FC, Amazon FC, right? So that means that is the meaning of Xworks. And what is FCA? Free carrier. Free carrier. Okay, I think I mean, I'm really not very sure of all the terms. So free carriers, I think it is like, I mean, if I remember, okay, I think I can leave that because I am not getting that what exactly. Mm, okay, anyhow, so free carrier, we'll just leave. I probably I'll cover up some other time. And what is CPT? Carrier paid to. Carriers paid to. Carriers paid to in the sense like, I mean, uh, these terms are mostly like it is any mode. In fact, like when you take your like product, and this basically, I think carries paid to is uh, carries paid. There is diagram which I can refer actually. Okay, I think I'm not very sure about this carries paid and carries uh, and insurance paid too. So uh, and DAT delivered at terminal. So this is basically like, I mean, whatever the mode of transport. So this DAT means like your delivered supplier or the seller will deliver your product uh, at the terminal. So they will not clear the custom duty, and they'll not. I mean, it once the product is delivered at terminal, it becomes your responsibility to clear uh, customs. You do. I mean, you it becomes responsibility to clear the customs by paying the duty, and I mean also your responsibility becomes that like you uh, make the arrangement to uh, do the shipment. I mean, do the inland transport from the uh, yeah, port to destination FC, right? FC or wherever you want to take, right? That's basically DAT. And DDP. What is DDP? Like delivered duty paid. This is basically, I mean, it DDP is like more convenient way of doing the shipment for us, like for us, for we like Amazon sellers. And DDP is nothing but delivered duty paid. So what does this mean? Like your supplier will pay everything, including your custom duty, including your inland transport on the destination country, and they'll deliver it, in fact, at your place. That could be like, I mean, your Amazon FC or the place wherever you want to deliver it, right? So that is nothing but DDP, and this is the most used method for Amazon seller. Okay, and what is DAP? Delivered at place. Delivered at place is nothing but like, I mean, so like I think they'll your supplier will do the custom clearance, but they'll deliver at I think I'm even like on this again. I have to really check. Like I think delivered at place is okay. So let's talk about like when you're asking the question, probably you'll see that. Okay, and this is only waterway transport, which is free alongside ship, free on board, cost and freight, cost insurance and freight. So free alongside ship in the sense like this is something. If I know correctly, it is like your supplier's responsibility would be to ship your product from their place to their, I mean, at shores port, uh, and they will just leave there. They will not load your consignment to container. They'll just leave at the port, and your responsibility becomes to load it and transport from there, do the international transport from there to your destination country. So that is FAS. FOB is free on board, which is nothing but like it is something similar as free alongside, but just that extra would be your supplier will load your consignment to the container. That responsibility they'll take, and from there your responsibility will start, and you will do the complete international transport. And cost and freight is nothing but your supplier pays for cost and freight. So which is like, I mean, apart from insurance, your supplier takes all the responsibility till a product delivered. So the that's the method. I mean, that's CFR. And CIF is cost, insurance and freight, which is nothing but including of insurance. Your supplier will pay off all cost along with your freight. That's nothing but CIF. Okay, here is a, I mean, basic, uh, I mean, basically four classifications are there. Like there is one called like departure terms. There would be arrival terms, and the top one is most, I mean, departure terms, which is like nothing but EX works, X works. And on the bottom, like you have arrival terms like DAT, DAP, and DDP, and these are the main carriage terms. Okay, so as I have already told, like I mean, these all terms are there. So I mean, this tells about like whose responsibility was what, right? You see the seller says that this is seller's responsibility, and this green was nothing but the buyer responsibility, right? And Xworks is, as I said, like Xworks has, I mean, less seller's responsibility, and most of this responsibility is buyer's responsibility to do the shipment, right? That is nothing but Xworks. And free carrier, like as like you see this something, I mean, your responsibility, seller responsibility still lies less, and buyer responsibility is more. Like from the carrier point, port, onboard, port, land place, import, custom, all those things, all the responsibility is buyer's responsibility, right? So all this chart tells about like whose responsibility is what in case of the type of Incoterms. The best Incoterm is the DDP. So we'll always, like whenever you are shipping your product, you always ask your freight forward for the DDP. That is the best thing what you should ask for. If in case, like let's say if you got really a good product with good differentiation, but you are not finding the right, I mean, shipment, I mean, DDP is not available for you. So then in that case, probably you'll have to see the other options, right? The options could be DAP or DAT, or whichever the options, or if it could be FOB, right? So in that case, you should know what will be seller's responsibility and what would be your responsibility, and from where you are supposed to take care, and who all you need to involve at what point, right? So that's why, like I mean, these all probably would not be required, as we will most of the time we will be asking our supplier or the freight forwarder for this option, DDP option. But if in case you do not have that option, then you have to choose either of the one, either from the rest, right? That's about all those things. And this is a more of like a whole table, like it says whose responsibility in any mode of transport. A similar kind of table, but it is in a different way. It says XOX, XW, all those things are there. Okay, and who can help you? Like this is the in US, this is the company usimportbond.com, who can help you if you need at any point. Let's say if you do not have this DDP option available, this is one company who can help you. You can definitely, I mean, take their help to get your import or export thing done. Okay, so that's basically ends this slide, the presentation. I'll just open for the question answer, and we'll talk about, you can ask me the question. Yeah, I think Vijay, probably I mean, I was not very sure on couple of Incoterms. That's why I missed out. But anyhow, so those things, I believe you know, right? As you are like more onto uh, I mean, importing and exporting thing,
Yes, sir.
might be knowing the terms. I was not, I mean, I knew that these terms, but I was not getting right away now. So these terms like, yeah, I mean, free carrier, carriers paid to, carriers and insurance paid to. Do you know all this exactly? I'm not able to remember.
Yes, sir. I know.
You know,
See,
right? Free carrier and carrier paid.
paid. Yes.
Okay.
Free carrier basically means the seller.
Mm-hmm.
He will deliver the goods, hand over the goods cleared
Okay.
for export
Mm-hmm.
into the charge of the carrier.
Okay.
named by the buyer at the named
Okay.
place or point.
At the name, place, or the point. Okay. Got it. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's one. And I mean, the free carrier is in the sense like seller responsibility becomes custom duty clearance,
Correct.
right? And you have a assigned carrier at destination.
Right.
Your seller will hand over your consignment to the carrier, whoever you have assigned, right, at the name place, right?
Correct. Right,
Right.
sir.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's something I was not able to remember. Okay. Even carriers paid to. Uh,
Yes, CPT and CIF are basically both the same.
right.
The only difference being I stands for insurance.
Insurance. Right. Yeah.
So in CPT, there would not be any insurance.
Right.
The, the seller will not take insurance from his side.
Correct.
Whereas in CIF, the seller will also take the insurance from his side.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
the buyer, like we need not take any insurance from our side
Correct. Yeah.
in CIF.
Right.
And
DAT is delivered at terminal. I think explained this, right? I think I've told correct, right? So it will be
correct,
basically, it
yes,
will be, delivered at the, uh, I mean,
terminal.
destination port terminal.
Correct, sir.
Yeah. But they'll, I mean, your seller doesn't hold responsibility to do the custom clearance. So it becomes your responsibility to do the custom clearance.
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah. And delivered duty paid is, as I said, like it is the whole thing, whole of the responsibility falls onto sellers. So whoever,
Correct.
like your freight forwarder or your seller, whoever supplier, who are taking your assignment, it becomes their responsibility, and they all the way take it to destination place.
Right. That's the correct definition. So,
And
so
delivered
this,
at place is DAP. What do you know? Like, I mean, DAP. If I told you correctly.
yeah, DAP is similar to uh, DAT, that is delivered at terminal.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference being after doing the clearance at terminal,
Mm.
they will arrange for the transportation of the goods to any named place.
Okay. So that then on that case, I was little confused. In fact, I mean, I know this and which one is that? Free carrier,
Correct.
DAT and free carrier. To me, like it, I feel that both are similar kind of thing, right? Because free carrier is something your seller's responsibility is to do the customs clearance
Correct.
and hand over your consignment to your named carrier, right?
Right.
This also is the same, right? It might not be carrier, but it is at a named place. They deliver at a named place, right?
Which you are referring to, DAP.
DAT, DAP.
DAP, right. No, DAP is the seller's responsibility is to send the goods
Mm,
till our destination port,
mm,
and when the goods reaches the port,
mm,
then the responsibility of clearing it at
mhm.
destination will be our responsibility.
But then in that case, terminal and place, what is the difference? DAT and DAP.
In DAT, that is delivered at terminal,
Mm,
the seller will not take the responsibility of sending the goods to the destination warehouse. Yeah, the seller's responsibility will end only till the
or
terminal.
till the terminal. Okay, okay, okay,
Terminal. Whereas
okay.
in
Only the DAP is only the clearance part, custom clearance part, who means falls under buyer's
correct,
responsibility. But
uh,
once the clearance is done, then
correct,
again your supplier's responsibility starts, and they take it from there to
to our
destination.
destination. Correct,
Right.
right.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay.
Means in DDP, that is when the entire responsibility falls on the seller.
On the seller, yeah, yeah.
And in DAP, the only difference is that the import duty and taxes
Import
will be
duty and taxes
taken care of by buyer in
by buyer
DAP.
in
That's
DAP,
the
right?
only difference.
Right, right.
Whereas in DAP, the entire responsibility is of the seller.
Correct, exactly. Yeah. And here also like free alongside. This is more of applicable to waterway only. These
Right.
terms, Incoterms like FS, FOB, CFR, CIF. So I think these are something clear, right? I believe what I told was correct.
Right.
Only this
FAS. Right.
FAS is alongside. It is, I mean, what I told is like your supplier responsibility becomes to deliver the products from their place to the port. That's all. They will not even like, I mean, load the consignment to the container, right?
Correct. But they will take the responsibility of paying the export duty and taxes
Export
and
duty
the
tax,
terminal charges also
the terminal charges, right? Okay,
in FAS.
okay, right. And in FOB, they'll take the responsibility of paying the terminal charges, export duty, and
Correct.
same time paying the. Uh, I mean, they'll take the responsibility to load your consignment as well, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, and cost and freight, and cost, insurance, and freight. These are like,
Right.
yeah.
In CFR, the seller will take the responsibility of loading the goods upon the carrier,
Mm,
and also they will pay the carrier charges as well. That is the charges of the ship
correct.
from the destination to our point of unloading. That is a freight.
Freight, yeah, yeah.
Freight. And in CIF, they will also take the insurance.
Insurance, yeah, insurance also they'll cover. Yeah, but in either of the case, most of the time, as I said, like you will be asking the freight forwarder or the supplier for the last option, which is nothing but DDP, right?
Correct. Right.
Yeah, because we do not want to take a lot of responsibility while delivering. But only thing is that if you are going for this option, you might not be knowing the exact figure what they are charging. Though you can ask them the breakups, like each of your charge or your custom duty, your whatever the insurance, your all the things, right? From your terminal duty, I mean export duty or import duty, all those things.
Correct.
Your terminal fees. So all these things you can ask them and compare with two, three freight forwarders and see who is good, right? And
Okay.
whose price is good, and based on that you can take decision. But definitely, like I mean, you have to at the same time, like you have to either means probably DHL, FDA, sorry, FedEx, and UPS. Those companies might be costly for us, right? If you are doing through
Correct.
them, the whole DDP would be definitely per kg would be around like $7 or something. But whereas like if you are doing through some other freight forwarder, might be pricing might be way cheaper, might be $3 or depending on, I mean, freight forwarder and your type of product, right?
Right.
So yeah, so that difference is there. But definitely if you can import through those companies like FedEx or DSL, I mean there will be less headache, but their
Correct.
charges is too much. So if you have to work with those FBA specialist freight forwarders, specialist freight forwarders, then these are the company. There could be a few more as well. This I do not say these are the just two company. There are few companies, and as I said, like you can still look in Alibaba to find good freight forwarder who is actually a freight forwarder. Not, I mean, I've seen like what this agent also,
Okay.
they sell the product. They are the trade company. At the same time, they also do such thing. You'll find a lot of listing in Amazon who says that we can also do shipment, right? So you have to be
Okay.
careful. Like you have to find out whether they actually can, I mean, they have the expertise to do the shipment from your manufacturer place to Amazon FC, and they whether they have FBA expertise or not. That's something you should find out, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
So, had you appointed a freight forwarder
yeah,
for
yeah.
your
Yes, yes,
first product?
right. So I appointed freight forwarder who was like, I mean, was taking the responsibility to the shipment. That was DDP, in fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So,
while communicating with the supplier,
mhm.
do we also need to get the confirmation on this Incoterms
No,
with the
what's that?
supplier?
Can you tell me once again? I missed out. Like there was a break.
When we communicate with our supplier
Uh huh.
while sourcing the product, will we discuss this Incoterm with the supplier as well for
Huh.
agreeing on the?
Well, as I said, like I mean, I said one at one place, like while getting the quote, you probably ask them the quote with EXW, right?
Okay.
X works. So what does that mean? Like nothing is included on. I mean, shipping is not included. They just take care of the manufacturing. Then you can ask that if they have to take care of the shipping, then what would be their, I mean, quote. You can get the quote for your product quantity and your total products, and see like what is their quote and how much they are charging, right? Then you can take that and compare with outside freight forwarders and see if they are good. Then if you find that they are good in terms of the pricing and their experience, probably you have to also talk to them like means whether they really do or just to take you, means get the,
For a ride.
yeah, I mean, not for a ride, probably just to take the money, and what they'll do, they'll just assign some other company by I mean, find third party who will be doing this, right, on your behalf, but they will take some commission in the middle, right? So
Okay.
that probably will be paying more. Instead, if you go directly to somebody who can do, and you probably will save that commission part, right? So that you
Correct.
have to be, I mean, careful and find out if the supplier is quoting you good, not like pricing is really not total, I mean, a mismatch, right? That you have to
Correct.
see. That you have to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how are you able to find a genuine freight forwarder through Alibaba or through?
Mine was through Alibaba only. The freight forwarder which I had taken the, I mean, my shipment was delivered. That freight forwarder I found through Alibaba.
Okay.
With in fact a lot of research. I mean, I had to talk to n number of many, in fact, many freight forwarders from the Alibaba list, and
Okay.
found one of them to be genuine. I felt that, like, I mean, then with their record of like this thing, in fact, I mean, just to tell you one incident what happened.
Okay.
When I asked my supplier if they can do that at on my very first product, they the supplier had given me a person contact, and he, in fact, I mean, he was trying to take a lot of money from me, in the sense like he said that the pricing he had given, and which is way higher than the price what I was getting outside, right? So
Okay.
that way, that there are chances that you may be get cheated. So you have to be careful. You have to keep your eyes open and see like where to go. Ask a lot of people, in the sense, a lot of thread forwarder from the list, and talk to them, understand what they can do, right? And they will probably tell that they are doing since this long and that long and all those things, but you have to wisely take the decision by seeing their company profile, doing little bit of verification, right? So what has
Correct.
happened in my case, this contact which I had got from the supplier, and that person had given me a quote, and he used some other company name to give me the quote. So what I did, I went to that company in Alibaba, because obviously that all the most of the companies are listed, and he said that this is the company, this is my company. I asked him, what is your company details and all, can you give me? So
Okay.
he had given me this company details and all. No, entered to that company and ask, and I started communicating with one agent.
Okay.
The first incident I did not ask. I tried to get the quote from them. Then kind of like built a kind of relationship first. Then I asked her whether do you know this person, because I mean this contact had come from the supplier, so I did not want to report to them that okay, this person, like, this is the person who has given me a quote from your company, right? I did
Okay.
not inform his name or anything. I just tried to collect that okay, whether you know somebody whose name is this, and he has given me the quote.
Okay.
And she said, no, I do not know, like, who is this? Then at that point I realized, oh, this person is trying to play the game here, right? So
Okay.
that's where, like, I was bit, I mean, careful dealing with this kind of thing. So you have to be careful, you have to keep your eyes open and do all possible research and try to find out best freight forwarder. Right? So you have to do
Correct.
definitely your research. But as I have used one freight forwarder, I can definitely give you the reference. You
Okay.
can reference and see if they can be good suit for you. I don't say that you go with them, but you can definitely explore out, and
Okay.
whichever whoever you find that they are genuine and they're good, then you can take the call.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It will be much appreciated if you can share the details of your freight forwarder,
Yeah.
because since you are already used their services, so it's a good testimonial that they are genuine service provider.
Yeah. So
So are
yeah.
you
So
using
like
that same
yeah, I'm using the same. Yeah, I'm using the same
till now?
till now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So it is
So
good because when we talk to the supplier about shipping,
mhm,
so it's always better to check out from an individual freight forwarder.
right. Yeah.
The manufacturer will try to take more money from us